Hey everybody, my name is Russ. That is Lauren. Welcome to our Sunday vinyl video, and we are reviewing all of one song today. This is one of the Record Store Day pieces that Lauren picked up not long ago, and this one's from way back. This is from Record Store Day Black Friday in 2024. So by the time this video airs, we will be coming up in a couple of months on Black Friday 2025. And if you're new to the channel, just FYI, we do one vinyl video every single Sunday. And we do the same format every single time. We try and talk about like the packaging of whatever record we're talking about. We try and talk about the sound of it. Sometimes we get a little in depth about the album itself. Like if it's a brand new album to us, or like this is a brand new Stevie song to us, Lauren is going to dance a little bit around the topic of this song. But mostly when we talk about sound, we're concerned more with, like this pressing versus that pressing, that type of thing. When we say sound, not like, hey, we really like the change in sound of this artist, that type of thing. Then we talk about price and value. And I know those two things can seem interchangeable, but it's very much a beauty is in the eye type thing. Sometimes one record somebody might look at and go, that is insane. Why would you pay that? Another person might be like, what a deal, Mm-hmm. So that'll just give you an idea as to how we do things. And we do that once per week. And our record collection is ever growing, which is how you end up with having bought this 7-inch back in November. And now it's just showing up on our channel. So, if you do want to hear about one record every week, we have tons of videos on the channel already. You can go back and check through everything and see I'm interested in that artist, not that one, whatever else. Like every third video should be a vinyl review video. And then if you want anything going forward, if you hit the notification bell, we do 3 videos a week. Only one of them is vinyl based. And if that's all you're here for, then just every third video, take a look and see what it is. And you'll know if you're interested in the video or not. Having said that, if you're into vinyl, you probably know what Record Store Day is. Record Store Day Black Friday got added a couple of years after the inception of Record Store Day. I was very cynical about Record Store Black Friday when it started, because to me, it was kind of like, I felt like it was like, I don't know, let's just throw some things together and do it again. I do understand it more. I don't think it's entirely that. And I think it's really up to the music labels. I have seen some very high quality stuff come out of Record Store Day Black Friday. So, and like every year it's hit or miss. Plus for example, this year, the Record Store Day that just passed, there were like 2 things in the entire list that I wanted at all. And there were people I know that were like, this is the best list in 10 years. And and don't get me wrong, that's awesome for them. Like I think I must have had on my clipboard in my phone, I'm so happy for you. Because I kept telling everyone, they kept going, dude, how can you not? I'm like, it's okay if I'm happy for you. And this is one of those pieces where I like Stevie Nicks. I like a lot of her work with Fleetwood Mac. I'm mostly a hits guy with her solo stuff, mostly due to exposure. Like what I've heard a lot more since we've been together from her solo stuff that I'd never heard before. But this is not something I would have had on the top of my list to pick up, because up until I met you, I was from her solo stuff, I'm a hits guy. Mm-hmm. So she put out a 7-inch. As far as I'm aware, this would have been a brand new song.
It was indeed a brand new song
at the time. Okay. The reason why I was giving such a big background at the beginning is because we usually have like a good amount to talk about with each one of our usual topics. And there's not a lot to talk about.
No, there's not a lot to talk about.
One of the things that we talk about is packaging, and I have seen some elaborate 7-inch packages in my life, but this is a cardboard package.
That's it.
I will say this, and I don't know if I'd call it. No, I think the inner label should count as packaging on vinyl. The worst. I dislike this inner label so much because it's like not the highest quality printing. I always put up pictures. I know it's the same song on both sides, but could have at least
made that clear.
I don't know. It's just let me say this. Now that Stevie Nicks needs to be involved in every single decision involving everything, but I'm pretty sure she has no idea what this looks like. that's not to call her lazy. I'm just assuming somebody was like, oh, don't worry, I got it. You know, like, and I really wish she would have had at least a glance at this because I'm pretty sure she would have been like, that's not right. Because she's a woman of a certain age. She grew up on and loves this format as much as we do. And I don't think she would have ever been, I think the first thing she would have done is been like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my take on it. What do you think packaging wise?
I can't disagree with you at all. You know, there's nothing.
Well, I bet Lindsay wishes Stevie would say that more. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. No, because you're absolutely right. Like I've seen the artwork on the singles that she was putting out for the Belladonna album and the Wild Heart album, and they're all like really cool and really unique. I mean, they're mostly her because she's gorgeous, but it's fresh artwork for each one of them, and this is just
there. And there's like a image that's like reused on. It's very strange. I'm not a huge fan of the packaging. Now, as far as audio goes, I'm going to let Lauren speak on the topic of the song. Again, she's going to try and dance around the topic for a couple of things. Number one, YouTube has filters on certain things. And number two, and I cannot stress enough before she starts talking, if she says anything that from any sort of political or ideological standpoint, you start like hammering on your keyboard or your phone. I'm just going to tell this woman, just don't bother, because whatever you type out, the moment it comes across my desk or hers, we're just going to delete the comment. Like, we're not here for that. We're here to discuss music, and anything that she's saying is her perception of an artist's ideals and political comment. So just throwing that out there. Like, you can type away, you can put it in all caps in whatever language that you want to, and I hope it makes you feel better, but it's going to be on the internet for like 13 seconds at the most. For me, because this is not a topic I feel that I should have an opinion on, what the subject of the song, I went full on into this concerned with sound quality, and that's it. To me, it sounds fantastic, and I know that sounds so basic, but I will say this: there are legacy acts out there. I'm not going to name names other than Bon Jovi, who I think sound horrific. And I'm not talking about John's voice. I'm talking about the production. I don't know how. I'm not expecting canon snares and all the reverb in the world anymore, but like late era stuff from those bands, late era Warrant, late era Skids, Bon Jovi for sure. The Crush album is to this day sounds fresh. And then all of a sudden they took a left turn, and everything since then sounds as if a 12-year-old with Audacity is figuring out how to master music. So when I get things like the last Tom Petty record, Hypnotic Eye, and it sounds amazing, or I get this from Stevie, this sounds so remedial, but I'm always like, it doesn't sound like trash. Yay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it.
So thus ends what I feel a male should say about this record.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
I'll pass it over to you.
So I'm going to start this by saying that I think it's great when an artist feels, especially like you're saying, an artist of a certain age, when an artist feels moved enough to keep creating new good art. Okay, and this is a Stevie Nicks song. Like there's no dancing around it. And I will say, if you happen to be one of those people that's like getting your torch out, coming after Stevie Nicks for putting this song together, I ask you, where have you been for the past 40 years? Because she's talked about this before, but she just disguised it in witchy woo woo and you didn't notice.
Well, and without, I'm going to try really hard to stop myself from the 7-hour discussion that I could go into, where 6 hours into this video, I go, and one more thing. 2 words, Roger Waters.
Right.
If one more person in the comments of a YouTube video or social media is like, I just wish I love Pink Floyd. I just wish then you don't love Pink Floyd. And I do want to say this, neither her nor I'm going to speak for you on this. Neither Lauren nor I are saying you have to agree with Stevie in order to love her music, or you have to agree with Roger. I don't agree with Roger on a lot of stuff. I agree with him on some stuff. I don't agree with him on others. By the way, don't bother asking that question. That's none of your business. I think everything should be people's own personal business. But I fully agree with the artist's right to express themselves in whatever way that they want to. And I don't think that Roger Waters, who's been making political Pink Floyd songs since 1968, just because just now you figured that out doesn't mean that he just now started talking about politics. And just because you just now, Stevie Nicks decided to break it down for you, doesn't mean that she wasn't talking about it the whole time.
Right. I mean, exactly.
And I'm so sorry. And it doesn't mean that she didn't have the right to talk about it the whole time.
Right. And again, I think all Stevie Nicks is talking about in the song is rights. Right.
And I want to make clear on this too. I'm not some sort of activist. I love Elvis's stance too. You know this. Elvis's stance was, my job is to sing. Like the media tried hard to get Elvis to even talk crap about Lennon, because Elvis was like, they were like, well, what do you think about what's going on in Nam? And Elvis was like, I sing. That's not my job. Like, I sing songs to help people take their mind off of things like that. And they were like, well, what do you think about Lennon? Because Lennon is always, and he was like, that's also not my place. However the artist wants to do that, that's what I mean when I say rights. Like, when you put in the work to put yourself in front of millions of people, you can use your platform however you want to, in my opinion, because I can then vote with my wallet and either support you or not.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I would argue that.
Oh, there you go.
I know that with this, I don't think Stevie Nicks ever set out to have something to say that's quote unquote political, right? Stevie Nicks' work this entire time, from the very, very beginning, has always been just deeply personal. And unfortunately, she had to go through something that without which we wouldn't have the rest of her career. Okay. And unfortunately, something that is very personal for her continues to be political. And she was like, hold on a second. I know from which I speak, so I'm going to speak to you now.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way we can have that discussion, I think. And when I say, don't come at her or anything, don't get me wrong. We welcome opposing opinions and whatnot, but we don't care about the political aspect of it. I would love to have a rational discussion with people about the artist's rights to speak on whatever. I want to be clear. The debate is not about what the topic of this song is. The more debate would be whether you stand on the side of Elvis, who said artists should just entertain, or a Roger Waters who says I can entertain and also tell you my views all of the time, or a Stevie Nicks. So that's that section. When we talk about value and price, now that's the thing where with Record Store Day, I think the delta is usually the biggest that it is, because when you're talking about like a normal record, you get a 2 LP set. Sometimes that value and price situation is like a 2 LP set is like $30. Sometimes it's $34.99. Sometimes $39.99. And then when you get to the ones that are like $44, it's like, okay, now we're like, maybe they're out of whack, right? But with Record Store Day, it's like sometimes you can get a 2 LP set and it's like $65.99. You're like, what? Like now I really got to decide the value. Okay. And I will say this, your boy recently was diagnosed, was stricken with the reading glasses on account of, and I'm sad to announce this on our YouTube channel, but I was stricken with the old. I was diagnosed with being old, and I struggle with it every day. I'm working through it. And I don't have my cheaters on right now. And I wrote these notes weeks ago, and I thought that I put $35 on here. And because of what I've been through with Record Store Day, honestly, I thought 35 sounded right, because I have paid $35 for a 7-inch record on Record Store Day before. Spoiler alert about what I think in value. I said, what does that say? Because it looks like 35 to me. She said 15. I think 15 is exactly the right price for this. Even though I don't like the packaging and the song isn't for me. I don't know if that sounds right.
That makes sense.
I think $15 is the right price for this. Now, other people, again, back in my day, When I went to Kmart, 45s were 75 cents a piece. And if you bought 3 of them, they were $1.50 a piece instead of, because you
was it $1.50 for 3?
Yeah. Cause it was, you could buy, that was basically to get you to buy at least 2 so that you would get the third one for free, essentially. And then 45s went pretty much completely away once cassette singles became a thing. And then really when they came back at all was like more of a collector's piece thing. And by, I mean, mainstream, they never went away in punk and the indie scene, but in mainstream, when you found like a Kelly Clarkson 7-inch, right?
Yeah.
Those are always $7 or $10, right? So $5 more for one of the most prolific artists of our time, putting out a brand new Penn song, on a special day that's an exclusive, that seems like the right price to me. To the point where literally I was going to be like, I was probably going to try and find a way to justify $35 for a collector. So for me, $15 is I think the value's there for a Stevie Nicks
Nicks fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the song is written for you. You love Stevie. Do you think $15 is outlandish, or do you think that there's $15 worth of value to own this?
A lot of it depends on who you are. I'm happy to have it because I'm a Stevie Nicks completionist because of the box set and all that stuff. I'm
not kidding you. I've accidentally been a completionist myself at times, and 90% of the time it's because of box sets.
Yeah. So, take that for what you will. So I think part of me would feel weird. I was like, oh, she's got that one song out there that I don't have, So I'm happy to have it. If I didn't have everything else that she put out, I don't think I'd necessarily need it because you can stream this song. And I will say her performance of this song on Saturday Night Live is far more powerful than the recording anyway.
Well, and there's a lot of visuals with
so,
that too.
If you want to experience this song, that's probably how I'd do it first.
That's fair.
But I'm glad to have it. And,
and if you want to, I'm not being that guy, but if you want to have that political discussion, take it to those comments because I assure you it's happening there. And I'm not trying to dump that in someone else's backyard. I'm saying there's a reason why.
Well, they invite that in their backyard.
That's what I'm saying. They want that there. So yeah, that's our thoughts on that. And I like that we both have a different take. Yeah, and that's Belladonna right there. So if you're a Stevie Nicks fan and you have any thoughts on our take on it, or you didn't buy this and you have more questions, I always try and put up pictures of everything. If you have more questions about it, by all means, let us know. And Lauren will try and field the comments on this because she just plain knows more about Stevie Nicks than I do. Or we both work from home, so a lot of times it's like, honey, there's a question. So, but if you are a fan of music and you want to see more from us, hit the like button and the subscribe button because we have 3 videos every single week. And we do try and cover a new vinyl record that we've purchased every single Sunday on the channel. That is Lauren. My name is Russ. Thank you so much for watching.